Election day is closing in. We'll take a look at how both candidates are campaigning. Plus, Trump fans line up to show their support in Neoshow, and we share the latest on COVID-19 in the U.S.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Less than 48 hours until Election Day, both presidential candidates are making their final pitches to American voters. This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Kate Kelly. President Trump is shuttling between rallies in 5 states in one day. Democratic challenger Joe Biden has 2 events in Philadelphia. As Tom Hansen reports from New York, a new CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows Joe Biden in the lead among early voters, but Election Day voting could shift the momentum.
Supporters of President Trump rallied in the Los Angeles area.
He definitely deserves a second term. This is about my 4th or 5th rally, and it's a very inspiring, positive feeling.
Joe Biden backers came out in nearby Long Beach, California.
We're here marching for love, for immigrants. Immigrants, we get the job done.
Ballots have been cast so far by 93 million voters and counting. A new CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows the former vice president has a lead among the record number of Americans who have already voted. The poll also shows President Trump has a large preference lead among people who say they are voting on Election Day, indicating he could see a Tuesday surge.
We are contacting these voters right now all weekend through the next few days to make sure they turn out to vote.
Joe Biden made stops in Philadelphia, continuing to focus on the president's coronavirus response.
But he lied to the American people. He knew it wasn't going to disappear. But he kept telling us a miracle's coming. It'll be gone by Easter.
President Trump started his 5-state day campaigning in cold and snowy Michigan.
Does anybody have a coat I could use, please?
He later hit back at his rival by tapping into voters' worries about the economy.
If Biden and Harris get in, the economy will collapse and our country will go into at least a free fall, but probably a depression. They want to raise your taxes.
And the president wraps the day with a late-night rally in Miami-Dade County, Florida, just before a midnight curfew aimed at slowing the spread of the coronavirus. Tom Hansen, CBS News.
On Monday, both candidates will again focus their efforts on Pennsylvania. Biden will be joined by Lady Gaga in Pittsburgh, and President Trump plans to hold a rally in Scranton, where Biden spent his childhood years. Today, over 100 cars lined up for the Red Wave Caravan and Neoshow. Organizers say Trump parades are picking up in popularity across the area. This event started out with just 6 vehicles about a month ago, but it's grown each time. Supporters of the president are hoping to swing voters ahead of Election Day.
I think they're hearing all the bad about Trump and they're not seeing all the good. And I think if people would see all the support that he's getting, it may give them a pause and time to think about it, before they go and vote.
Political merchandise was also available for purchase at the event. Nick Kelly joins us now with our first look at weather, and really a pretty good day.
Yeah, not bad at all, even though we had to start a bit cold this morning, Kate. Still made a good rebound with the sunshine we had. 39 this morning, 57 at Joplin Regional for an afternoon high on this 1st of November of 2020. All because of high pressure that worked in. It's keeping us cold once again for tonight, but keeping clear skies at the top. But again, it's allowing temperatures to turn cold. Cold enough, in fact, at northeast Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas. You haven't had a good freeze yet, or at least a freeze yet, but you've got a shot until 8 in the morning to see temperatures either flirt with the freezing mark or dip below it. And we're already in the cold territory. Most of us sitting in the mid to upper 30s right now. I think most of the region, though, bottoms out around 34. That doesn't mean outlying areas could drop back into the lower 30s. Bottom line, cold morning, nonetheless, no matter where you are, but the mild air starts returning tomorrow with most of the area working back up near 60. We'll look at the rest of the week coming up here in a bit, Kate.
All right, thanks, Nick. As of today, more than 9 million people in the United States have been infected with COVID-19. More than 230,000 have died. That's the most in the world. Still, early voters have risked it, turning out to vote in historic numbers. CBS's Lilia Luciano has the latest.
Tonight, excitement at the polls, even as a pandemic rages out of control.
If there's any silver lining, it is the fact that people are deeply engaged.
In record numbers, more than 93 million early ballots cast and still counting.
So much sacrifice was made so that we could have the opportunity to vote.
In California, where every eligible voter got a mail-in ballot, Anthony Banjo went to the polls.
Because I want to make sure that my vote counts.
At the same time, the nation's fall COVID surge is in full force. New infections nearing 100,000 a day. 27 states are breaking records for daily infections in the last 2 weeks. Former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb said on Face the Nation that the winter could be grim.
I think December is probably going to be our toughest month, but when you look at what's happening in states right now, you're seeing accelerating spread.
In New York City, police shut down an illegal Halloween party with nearly 400 guests. Starting Wednesday, all out-of-town visitors to New York will face mandatory testing, but no quarantine for now. Back in California, a COVID survivor story. Natalie Coelho tested positive for coronavirus just weeks after starting treatment for an aggressive form of breast cancer.
So I had two things going against me. And it was
her doctor paused her chemo so she could fight COVID first.
It's very scary.
How did your family take it?
You know, I was in the hospital and they took control of the household. They made me cry. Very positive. They keep me going for sure.
This super vote site at the Honda Center, home of the Anaheim Ducks, is open until 8 tonight. In all, Orange County has already seen a 61% voter turnout. Lilia Luciano, CBS News, Anaheim.
That's news and weather in our first 7 minutes. Just ahead, airlines have taken a major hit as a result of the pandemic, but United Airlines has a plan to get travel back off the ground. Plus details on a deadly Halloween stabbing spree in Canada. United Airlines is set to start test flights, hoping to help international travel take off again. Details from Chris Van Cleve.
Ready for testing?
Starting November 16th, a United Club at Newark Airport will become a COVID testing center, where some flyers to London will be required to get a free rapid test before departure.
And now we wait the 10 minutes.
The 4-week trial program for passengers taking the Monday, Wednesday, Friday departures of Flight 14 is the first of its kind. United hopes to convince the U.S. and U.K. governments an airline can run a robust testing program in the hopes mandatory 2-week quarantines can be relaxed or eliminated with proof of a negative test.
We firmly believe that doing pre-departure testing is the best way to start to open up travel again, especially in these international markets.
United's Aaron McMillan.
A pre-departure testing program just adds another layer of safety to the overall experience.
Researchers are increasingly pointing to layers of safety as key to reducing risk of COVID spreading on an airplane. This week, a new Harvard University study found flying to be low risk, noting the combination of the plane's air filtration and circulation systems with social distancing during boarding and deplaning, as well as universal mask wearing, makes the gate-to-gate flying experience safer than eating out or grocery shopping.
The message we want to give is not that the airplane mechanical system alone is sufficient, but rather that the combination of behavior, wearing a mask, minimizing the time that mask is off for any kind of eating or drinking, and then depending on the airflow of the airplane to minimize anything that escapes the mask.
But as COVID cases soar, U.S. airlines lost more than $15 billion last quarter, and the number of passengers remains down 63% compared to last year. Boeing expects at least a 3-year recovery and cut its 10-year forecast for new airplane demand by 11%, while announcing its own staff reductions would nearly double to more than 30,000 jobs by the end of 2021. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
England will begin its new national lockdown on Thursday, with bars, restaurants, and many businesses being forced to close once again. The lockdown will run until December 2nd in an effort to stop hospitals from becoming overwhelmed with COVID patients. A 24-year-old man was arrested early this morning in the historic district of Quebec City after 2 people were stabbed to death and 5 were injured by an attacker police say was dressed in a medieval outfit brandishing a sword. Police were called to the area on Halloween and discovered victims in at least 4 locations. After a 2.5-hour manhunt, the suspected attacker was arrested shortly before 1 a.m. Authorities say the suspect, Carl Gerard, is not associated with any terror group. A bit later, we'll share how volunteers are feeding families displaced by wildfires in Colorado.
And after a chilly end of the weekend, Mother Nature is ready to warm us back up once again. Forecast up next. We turn chilly to end the weekend, but also kick off the first day of November on this Sunday all across the area. Even though we saw plenty of sunshine from our time lapse of indigo sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. We had a quick cold front roll on through last night. Again, no moisture with it, so you really had to pay attention to the winds. Once it kicked out of the northwest, that's what brought in the chillier air, dropping us from the mid-60s for highs yesterday back down into the upper 30s and lower 40s this morning. And we still managed to warm up some, but it was a bit chillier today with highs pushing at least 57 around Joplin Regional. Around the rest of the city of Joplin proper, we're just sitting nice and quiet. Clear skies up top, 37 degrees with a calm breeze. Humidity starting to climb up there at 67%. The rest of the Joplin metro is just cold no matter where you are. In fact, we're already at 34 in Pittsburgh, 37 in Galena, 39 in Seneca, same for Neosho, Granby. Actually, Granby is sitting at 40. Diamond, just not too far up the road, they're sitting at 39 degrees. Everybody, though, pretty much in the mid to upper 30s right now, maybe a few spots still near 40 around the Table Rock Lake. But the general consensus is everyone's cold for tonight and to start Monday morning out. Most of us dropping back in the lower to middle 30s before we finally see milder air work back in tomorrow with highs pushing back near 60. Skywatch Storm Tracker, it was clear all day, clear all evening long so far. Nothing happening here with high pressure sitting on top of us, working quickly behind that cold front that's already working into the Atlantic as we speak. And the upper levels are starting to bode in our favor as well. We were sitting underneath this upper level low. That's what brought in the chillier air for today, but the upper ridge is starting to build back in now. That's going to be another key component to help bring the mild air back in to start this first full work weekend, school week of November out. Before we see the mild air work back in, though, everyone's cold for tonight underneath clear skies, no matter where you are across the area. Let's go for a low of 34 in Joplin. Outlying areas could easily drop back into the lower 30s, but that south breeze at 5 to 10 picks up a little bit, and with sunny skies still in play, we'll shoot into the mid-50s by lunchtime and push 60 for an afternoon high in Joplin. I think most of southwest Missouri is fair game to hit 60 degrees at the very least, and lower to middle 60s for southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma for our first Monday of the month of November. Here's how the rest of the week's shaping up. We're quiet for Tuesday, still underneath that ridge, and with mostly sunny skies, that'll push us near 70 for Election Day. Then we'll get a quick wave working in here on Wednesday. It's got enough moisture to bring in mostly cloudy skies for Wednesday, but not enough for any rain chances. So this is a dry wave, a little cloud cover for the middle of the week before we clear things out to start the weekend. But sticking with Doug's pattern, this is going to be the next big storm system to keep an eye on. We're dry for much of the week, but once we hit Sunday, that's when we'll start to see a cold front try to work on in. And by that time, we'll see if we can get some thunderstorm chances back in here. Other than that, Kate, we just got a relatively quiet week ahead of us. 60 tomorrow, 70 on Election Day, and we'll just stay right around 70, whether you're talking about the mostly cloudy skies on Wednesday or the nice-looking skies for Thursday and to start the weekend.
Wow, yeah, not a bad start to this new month. If I saw those numbers, I definitely wouldn't guess we're in November.
No, these are looking pretty good.
All right, thanks, Nick. Coming up a little later in sports, cross-country titles are won over the weekend with a pair of siblings repeating as champions. Also, the Chiefs' high-powered offense squares off against the winless New York Jets. Andy Ciateco has highlights and post-game reaction later. Church volunteers and the Red Cross are providing much-needed relief and meals for those displaced from wildfires still burning in Colorado. Dylan Thomas reports in Denver.
The Southern Baptist Convention's disaster relief team in Colorado has worked non-stop now for 7 weeks.
We have fed close to 19,000 people. That is a lot.
While many associate the Red Cross with feeding evacuees from the Cameron Peak and East Troublesome fires,
They don't realize that the Southern Baptists are preparing the meals.
For almost 50 days straight,
I'd rather be no place else but here.
Cheryl Wood and 450 other volunteers have worked day and night through snow and ash to feed every evacuee in need.
It specifically states in the Bible that we are to take care of the needy, the poor, and the elderly. By being an evacuee, you are needing meals.
Every volunteer is from Colorado. Ben Ferguson just happens to live close to the evacuees.
I just still consider them neighbors. Some of them have been staying there for 7-8 weeks at a time now. These people are suffering through a great ordeal, just being displaced, and a lot of them don't know, are they going back to a home or not? So, I mean, the least we can do is provide a couple meals a day to help at least ease that burden.
2 meals a day are prepared, packed, and handed off to the Red Cross for delivery. In a time of uncertainty, the volunteers say their services are just one act of sacrificial giving.
Roll up your sleeves and go volunteer somewhere. It's just amazing what you can get done when people work together.
The East Troublesome Fire in Colorado is 37% contained as of today. That fire has been burning since October 14th. Authorities say close to 400 firefighters are battling the flames, and it has burned more than 190,000 acres. At least 4 people were killed as Typhoon Goni pounded the Philippines, with authorities warning of catastrophic conditions in the hardest hit regions where hundreds of thousands have fled their homes. Goni was downgraded from a super typhoon as it swept across the southern end of the most populous island towards the capital, Manila. This comes a week after another typhoon hit the same region and killed 22 people. We take this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Robert Lee Allen served in the Navy as a motor machinist mate 3rd class. He served from 1943 to 1946. His hometown, Joplin, Missouri. We thank you, Robert Allen, our 4-state hero.
Welcome back and welcome into the Toyota Sunday Night Sports Feed. The Kansas City Chiefs are back at home after a 2 straight road win. Entering the day, the Chiefs are 6-1 on the year, hosting the winless New York Jets. Le'Veon Bell facing the Jets today, just weeks after they released him. Opening drive for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes flips it forward to meet Cole Hardman, breaks free for a 30-yard touchdown. Chiefs up 7 early. Later in the first, Kansas City on 4th and 4. Tommy Townsend fakes the punt before finding Byron Pringle. 13-yard gain. Chiefs with a fresh set of downs. Next play, Mahomes has time in the pocket to find Tyreek Hill the end zone. That's a 36-yard score. Chiefs leading 14-3. And just over a minute left before the half, Mahomes throws an underhanded pass to Travis Kelce. 3-yard touchdown untouched. Kelce dunks on the goalpost after. He would get penalized for the excessive celebration though. Chiefs up 12 at half. 4th quarter, Mahomes loads up, fires to Hill downfield. A 41-yard touchdown completion. Mahomes threw for 400 plus yards and 5 touchdowns. Chiefs handled the Jets 35-9.
They were coming down fast, and the guys were getting open in space, and I was putting it in their hands. And I think the biggest thing was he kept calling those plays. He kept giving me the option to do run or throw the pass. And I think when you do that, it really puts a lot of stress on the defense.
Nice job by Patrick. Again, he had complete command of everything going on, including the check at the end when they were in a blitz look and hit Tyreek on a big touchdown.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas fell 31-26 in their fall opener to Nebraska Kearney on Saturday. PSU is 0-1 to start under head coach Brian Wright. The Gorillas scored first on a 2-yard rushing touchdown by Tyler Atkins, but the Lopers' double-digit lead in the 4th was too much to overcome for Pitt State. Quarterback Max Sexton passed for a career-high 398 yards and 3 touchdowns. The top 2 receivers in the contest were Pitt freshmen Christian Carter and former Pittsburgh Purple Dragon Dylan White, who combined for 258 yards and 2 scores.
We got some guys stepping up, we got some transfers, and we were missing Bryce Murphy today, but he'll be back next week, and I'm really excited with the squad that we have.
You know, I thought we matched up well. Kearney has a couple of outstanding corners, and they played a good game today, and I like our guys. I like our receivers, and I like what they can do, and I think they can be weapons for us, that's for sure.
It was a big weekend for the Webb City boys and girls cross-country teams at the Class 4 District 6 meet in Nixa on Saturday. It was a Cardinals sweep. The Webb City girls were crowned district champions, their first district title in program history. The girls were led by junior Riley Hawkins. She placed first with a time of 20 minutes and 20 seconds. The Webb City boys also won the district title, with 7 Cardinals finishing in the top 14. On the Kansas side, Girard's McCormick Logue won the boys 3A state cross-country individual title on Saturday. The senior finished the 5,000-meter race in 16 minutes and 17 seconds. This is the second straight state title for Cormick Logue. Speaking of the Logue family, Cormick's big sister Kaylee Logue, you might remember her as one of the most decorated high school runners in Kansas history. Well, the Girard product won her third straight women's Big 12 cross-country championship on Friday for Iowa State. Kaylee claimed the title in 20 minutes. Her 3 Big 12 conference titles are tied for the most in conference history. That's a look at sports. Back with more news after this.
Halloween may be over, but that doesn't mean the scares have to stop. Plenty of vehicles rolled on through this haunted house car wash in Minnesota this weekend. The unique business idea provides some good, clean fun. Once inside, costumed employees scrub down your car with blood-colored soap in a workspace transformed with a fog machine, strobe lights, and decorations. Looks like a good time, and hopefully everyone enjoyed this spooky holiday weekend. Nick, I know they had some pretty nice weather for it.
I gotta say though, I was terrified of car washes when I was a kid. I hope any kids didn't have to go through that.
Especially traumatic, I think.
But no, hopefully they had great weather for it, and we're finally getting great weather back in here. Cold tonight, but we're back near 60 tomorrow. We're going to keep things mild and dry for much of the week, including Election Day. Looking good still with highs near 70, Kate.
All right, thanks for watching. Have a good night and a great Monday.